I recall Mr. Amadou Samba. Okay. Mr. Samba, we move on to another subject matter, Gam Petroleum. Gam Petroleum, as you may know, is the subject of investigation by this commission. And from the records we have so far, you own shares in Gam Petroleum storage, both in Gam Petroleum Limited and the subsequent company, Gam Petroleum Storage, the full name, Facility Company Limited.
Yes, ma'am.
Which you divested sometime in 2015, it would seem. Could you, if we can start from the beginning, what's your connect? What was? How did you become involved in Gam Petroleum Limited?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, the idea of Gam Petroleum, I was part of the creation of Gam Petroleum. It was prompted by the fact that the petroleum depot at Hafdai had capacity to sustain this country for only 2 weeks. So if there was anything like any interruption in the supplies, this country would have been grounded to a halt, because we had supplies to sustain this country for only 2 weeks. So as a Gambian citizen, I was concerned. Not only that, the fact that I was in the petroleum industry, I felt there was need to work on it. In fact, prior to Gam Petroleum, I approached Shell Company then. One of their regional directors came to Gambia, and I was trying to convince him to relocate the depot to somewhere else with a bigger capacity. I'm sorry to go into all this, but that's how it started. I conceived the idea together with Mohamed Bazi, and when the financing was offered by Total International, we started working on the location of the depot. I was, in fact, I helped in securing the land at Mandinari, and apart from that, I helped in preparing the land, because it was in a very swampy area. So after securing the land from the Alcalo and getting the necessary permissions with the Department of Environment, you know, there are lots of things involved, especially when it comes to storage tanks. I was part of the, you know, people that negotiated with government to get all the authorizations in terms of environment and everything. Then afterwards, I was also involved in the civil works, in the construction. I built the fence because I used my company to build the fence. I did a lot of backfilling because, like I said, the area is very swampy. So we had to do a lot of backfilling and compacting the soil to make it, you know, something solid enough to carry the weight of the tanks. Apart from that, I did other civil works, like I did the concreting, which involves aggregates like basalt, laterite, sand, and I did a lot of mobilization in terms of providing the equipment. I provided nearly all the equipment on site, and I must say it also involved my 80-ton screen, which on the...
Sorry, your what?
I had an 80-ton screen.
Crane?
Crane, yes, mobile crane at the site, you know, to facilitate, you know, the moving of heavy objects and stuff like that. And the crane alone, I mean, the cost of hire, although I made a mistake, I consulted my technician, and he told me that the cost of hire of a crane is like $12,000. It's $12,000 per hour. This crane was stationed on the site from the beginning of the construction to the end. Apart from that, I supplied the cement. I did a lot of mobilization.
Okay, all right.
So in fact, what happened was, considering all this, you know, when I was allocated 10% shares, I was not too happy because I felt that it was not commensurate to what I contributed in terms of material and other things.
Mr. Samba, could you, let's discuss the way the companies were structured. You started from when the conception of the project. What year was this in the first place? Let's put it in context. Do you remember?
I can't remember. But if we look at the documents, we should be able to have an idea of when the company was incorporated. You know, initially I was not a 10% shareholder. Initially, I think it was Mohamed Bazi's nephew who was the majority shareholder.
You gave some documents to the investigators. Do you have copies, or do you want to have the documents
back?
Yes,
I think the copies are here.
All right.
The copies are here.
So the project was incorporated as...
Yes, initially it was Mohamed Bazi 99% and Amadou Samba 1%.
And
that was when...
What was the name of the company?
The company then was Gambia Petroleum Storage Facility Company Limited.
And what year was this?
This was in 2003.
Okay. Now, what is the connection between this company, which is Gambia Petroleum Storage Facility Company Limited,
yes,
and Gambia Petroleum Limited, that was incorporated also in...
afterwards?
Offshore.
Yes. Actually, Gambia Petroleum Company Limited was created when the whole idea was being conceived. Nothing happened yet. Nothing happened yet.
Which one was created first?
I think it was this one of 2003.
Okay.
That is when nothing happened yet.
All right.
So there Mohamed Bazi was 99% and I was given a token share of 1%.
Okay. Do you have the documentation regarding the creation and put it, if you can
This
put
is
it
the
together.
initial one, yes?
Yes.
I have it here.
Okay, so what's the connection with Gum Petroleum Limited that seemed to have been incorporated in 2005 in Nevis?
Yes, actually, when the whole project started, I think then, there was financing from Total International, and that's when the whole picture changed in the sense of the shareholding and everything. And that is when they created this offshore company.
Do you know what the purpose, where you're a shareholder in the offshore company?
I was a shareholder. I held 10% shares.
So what was the purpose, I still don't understand, of creating the offshore company after you had a local company already?
That I wouldn't know. I think really the drivers of the company should know.
And the drivers are?
The majority shareholder then was Mohammed Bazi. He was the brainchild of the company.
So you said at the beginning you had 1%?
1%. That was just at the beginning when we started conceiving the idea of having a petroleum storage.
Okay. You have the memorandum and articles you're
I do
reading
have
from?
that one, the initial one, yes.
The certificate of incorporation, if you have it?
Yes, I think I have it, yes.
And certificate of business registration.
I have it. I have it. This is the one. No. I have the memorandum, the initial one, I have it here. Where Mohammed Bazi is 99%.
Yes, you have the certificate of incorporation as well, and certificate of business registration.
Let me just interject before you go beyond the shares. Mr. Samba?
Yes, sir.
The 99 and the 1%, is that by choice? In most countries, the ideal combination is 51-49. Did you choose the 1% shares?
No.
How did you end up with one?
You cannot form a company with only one person. So this was more of a nominal share to satisfy the company requirements, you cannot own a company 100%. So, that's why I said it was a token share.
Token?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
I can find, I found the one, that's the initial one.
What is that you found? The memorandum and article?
Yes, Gambia Petroleum Storage Facility Company Limited, which was incorporated in the Gambia.
That's the memorandum and articles. Do you have the business registration?
That's the memo and article, but I don't think I have the certificate of incorporation.
I'll just show you these documents, which I understand you gave to the investigators. Can you show Mr. Samba? There's a certificate of incorporation. I'm going to give you an application for business registration certificate and.
Yeah, I have an amended.
I'll just show you this
memorandum and articles of association of Gambia Petroleum Storage Company Limited. I have it here.
Together with the original, or what?
Yes, the original one and the amended memorandum and articles. And the certificate of incorporation is here. Okay. I have them here. And the business certificate.
When was it amended?
This one was amended. The registration here says 11/12. Is it? 11/12/2015, is it? Yeah. 12/2015.
So you have the original memorandum and the amended memorandum in 2015.
And the amended, yes.
And the certificate of incorporation.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you collect them, please? Now, when did you? Well, you said originally you had 1%, and it's evident.
Yes, ma'am.
And what was the? When did you acquire 10%?
I acquired 10% when they had this amendment. That is this, as you can see in the amended memorandum and articles, I have been allocated with 10% shares.
Yes, but do you have the share transfers then?
I have the share transfer. I have the share certificate, which is here. I think this is the share certificate. I have it here. This is share certificate. Certificate of incorporation, income tax clearance, business registration. I have all of them here.
The transfer of shares, can you check the date, please?
The transfer of shares.
And the parties for the record?
Yeah, I can tell you. Like it's registered on the 12/02/2015, and the parties, you have Social Security and Housing Finance Corporation 31%, the Gambia Ports Authority 10%, the Gambia National Petroleum Company Limited 7%, Amadou Samba 10%. You have Mohamed Bazi 31.5% and Fadi Mezegi 10.5%.
You're reading from the amended memorandum and articles?
Yeah, that's the amended memorandum.
But
it was in February 2015.
Do you have the share transfer that gave you 10%? That's the
yes,
one I'm asking.
I do have it.
Yes.
I have the certificate.
Certificate of?
Certificate of the shares, that is the 10%.
But you know that's different from a share transfer. What I would like you to give us, if you have, now, if you don't, we'll give you time to locate it. We would like to see how your shares increase from 1%.
That's what I'm saying.
To 10%.
It's here in the amended, it says amended pursuant to resolution made on the 28th day of January 2015 by the Board of Directors of the company. Memorandum and Articles of Association.
I understand, Mr.
Yes.
Samba. But you know the memorandum, when it changes, always reflects transactions that have already taken place.
Yes, ma'am.
So there would be a transfer of shares. I'm sure there is a transfer of shares. If you don't have it now, we'll give you time to look for the transfer of shares.
I have a share certificate for GAM Petroleum, which is here.
All right. Give us what you have, and
yes.
we'll give you time to locate the rest.
No, this is the sale agreement made between me and you.
Can we see the shares?
It's here. They are saying that please find attached the memorandum and article of association and other relevant documents of the proposed GAM Petroleum Storage Facility applying under the Companies Act 1955. The document seems to be in order for your comments and approval, please. And you have all the rest of it. Then
so what did you just read out from?
Pardon?
What are you reading from?
I'm reading it from the share certificate. It's attached to the share certificate.
What is attached?
This thing here.
Okay, let's see the documents that you have. Mr. Samba, from the documents that we have, which have not yet been tendered, there was a transfer of shares in 2009. Maybe you need to look at your records. There was a transfer of shares in 2009 between the original shareholders and the government shareholders. So maybe you need to look at your record again. show it to the lawyer first. Sorry, let me just check something. Maybe it's which company it is. Now that share transfer refers to Gambia Petroleum Limited. You can confirm whether it's relevant to what you're saying.
Yes, this is correct. This is correct.
All right. We'll make a copy and make it available to you. And since you have it's on record, I'll have to now apply to admit it. Can you collect the folder, please?
This is correct.
I just want us to have a clearer picture as to the relationship between the Navy's company and the Gambian company, which is the Navy's company is called Gambia Petroleum Limited. The Gambian company is called Gambia Petroleum Storage Facility Limited.
Exactly.
Now, what is the relationship? If you know, if you don't, then you don't.
Actually, I don't know. This was dealt with by the lawyer of the company.
But when did you obtain the 10% shares? It could not have been 2015. Is it 2015?
Well, I think the transfer is written on that, the transfer of shares.
Yes, but there are two companies. This one is referring to Gambia Petroleum.
The offshore
the other
one, I think I have the certificate here. The offshore one was on 27th of day of May 2009.
Okay, you also mentioned a certificate, a share certificate for the Gambian one. Do you have a share certificate? You mentioned the share certificate earlier.
This is the share certificate.
That's the one you were mentioning earlier?
Yes, yes.
So it's for the offshore company?
That's the offshore company.
Right. We'll receive the documents that you have.
Number of shares, 100. I have it here.
All right. We'll receive the documents that you have, and I'd also apply to have admitted the document that I've shown you. But meanwhile, we would require that you review your documents.
I have the resolution.
What resolution?
The one of 28 January.
Which year?
This one was at a session of the duly convened and held at the company's head office in the Gambia. The following resolution that the government shareholders and the private shareholder would provide the board of directors with nomination for a financial person and an order for operations of the... Oh, okay, this is different. But this was a resolution.
Mr. Samba, just tell us the documents that you have. Now, you're saying originally you had a token share. Then subsequently that was increased to 10%.
To 10%, yes, ma'am.
Now, these 10% shares were then divested to government, to some government institutions, some public institutions.
At their request. At the request of the government institution.
When was this? Did this divestiture take place?
Actually, what happened was, okay, I was approached.
Sorry, when did it take place, this divestiture?
Let me see. I think this was around February 2015. I was approached by the then Minister of Finance, applied by the then Minister of Finance, Keba Toure. He approached me and told me that government was interested in acquiring majority shares in the petroleum depot, since the petroleum depot was an asset of national strategic importance. So they felt the need that at least government should have controlling shares. When he told me this, I said, okay. He said, he even told me that I understand that you own 10% shares in Gambia Petroleum, and if government would have to have controlling shares, like if you sell your 10%, that will give government controlling shares. So I said, okay, so this is what you want? He said, yes. Then, okay, I said, no problem. I mean, I'm a Gambian, and I think if Gambia wants to have controlling shares of an asset of such national strategic importance, I can only surrender to their request. So then I told him that, okay, we agreed on me selling it to the government at book value. Under normal circumstances, if I'm going to give you controlling shares, I mean, the sky is the limit, because I'm giving you control of the institution. But I didn't look at that. As a citizen, I said I have to be reasonable. And that's when I told them that I will sell it to you at book value instead of the market value, because I've had experience like this before when I was involved in a company, and one of the shareholders wanted to have controlling shares, and he approached me to give them just 5%. And that 5% costed a lot of money then, because I'm giving them control of the company. But in this particular situation, I consider the fact that I'm a Gambian. Two, even my other partners were not too happy about it, because they felt that, you know, we as private people should have control over the petroleum depot. They didn't tell me, but I felt it. This is how everything happened.
Okay. You have the share transfers. Let's have the documents from yourself.
I have the share transfer here.
In 2015.
Yes, I have the share transfer here.
And all the accompanying documents.
And I must say here, that I also have the receipts for the capital gains tax.
Please add them to the share transfers.
And I paid full capital gains tax, because I had to employ Deloitte & Touche to do a proper assessment of my capital gains tax. And I have the document here with me. And I paid $9,434,250. The check is here attached.
All right. What was the purchase price?
The purchase price was 3.5, which represents 10% of the book value. 3.5 million euro.
Okay.
Euro.
And that was
which was the
converted to dollars and the assessment made?
Yes, it was converted to dollars by Deloitte & Touche, and they did a proper assessment. I have the assessment here.
What was the dollars equivalent?
I don't have it here.
It should be on the capital gains tax form.
Yes, let me see.
If you have it. Oh, sorry.
In fact, the exchange rate they use is here, €1, $53.91.
All right, very well. That will suffice for now. And
Yes.
the assessment was on a 5% basis. That's what made it to 9-point-something million.
9.432,250.
All right.
I have all the receipts here.
That's fine. Can you add them to
Yes,
the
ma'am. And,
share
and
transfer?
also the Deloitte & Touche assessment. I have everything here.
All right. Can you collect the document? Do you have anything else you would like to add to those documents relating to Gam Petroleum.
Yes, ma'am. I think this is the resolution for the valuation of the Gambia Petroleum Depot. Something like that. It was done by Deloitte and Touche.
So it was valued?
Yes, ma'am.
It was valued. What was the
Yes,
valuation?
that was the big value. The book value was 35 million euro.
Sorry, evaluation was done.
It was done. The book value was 35 million euro for the whole shareholding.
So what was the valuation?
That was the valuation, 35
The
million
valuation
euro.
figure by Deloitte and Touche.
It was 35 million euro. I can remember. It was 35 million euro.
And 35 million was also the book value?
Definitely. That's what is meant by book value. It's the value.
That's not my understanding of a valuation and a book value.
I mean,
but that's fine. That's your understanding.
That's what I meant. That is what is meant by book value. You have market value, which has no limit. You can sell your shares at any price. Because they wanted it. I didn't approach them to sell it. They wanted to buy it from me. And I was giving them controlling shares. So I could have sold it at market value, which is far in excess of what I offered to them.
I think you can return Mr. Samba's original. Wait, 1 moment.
I also have comments on the audit accounts prepared at instance of government shareholders. I have it here. That's not important anyway.
So in this resolution dated 28 January 2015, the offshore company was dissolved. It was resolved that the offshore company be dissolved.
Yes, I think it's captured there.
So it was dissolved.
Hopefully. I think so. It's there.
I have the original from DT Associates and what seems to be a copy. Could you confirm that that is so? So we'll take the copy and return the original. Well,
Thank you, ma'am.
You can return this, which is the original assessment. You have a copy.
Thank you very much. This is the GT receipt, the check.
Okay, that's
The check that I lodged with GRA and the receipt from GRA. I think
is it the same as this copy?
That's the check.
Is it that's the receipt?
This is the receipt from GRA.
All right, let's have the receipt
to
back.
confirm that I paid 9.4 million
Very well.
as capital gains.
Okay. All right, can you check those two documents? Which one would you prefer to have admitted?
Yes, ma'am.
Which one would you prefer to have admitted? They seem to be the same, original and copy.
Okay, ma'am. Let me tender the duplicate. Or if you want, I can also tender the original.
Yeah, give us the original. We always prefer originals. If
you prefer originals?
Yes, if the
okay,
witness,
let me give
if the
it to
witness
you. I'll
wishes.
give it to you. No problem.
Unless they are public.
No, ma'am. No problem.
Yeah. All right. All right. Thank you.
You also have the share sale agreement between Amadou Samba and government of the Gambia?
Let me have it.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there any other document you would like to have admitted in relation to this matter?
I think it's fine.
Mr. Samba, you were at some point the chairman of the board of GAM Petroleum.
I was.
During what period was this?
I think from inception, they appointed me chairman until I sold my shares.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, may I apply to have admitted memorandum and articles of association of GAM Petroleum Storage Facility Company Limited and certificate of incorporation dated, the certificate of incorporation dated 10th July 2003, as well as copies of application for business registration. Seems to be a file copy of the Register General's Department with accompanying documents, amended memorandum and articles of association filed on the 11th December or February, I think it's 02. I'm sure. February, 11 February 2015. Registered share certificate of GAM Petroleum Limited dated 27th March 2009 in the name of the witness. With attached documents, although the attached documents are for GAM Petroleum Storage Facility Company Limited. Could you check this, please? Can you give it to the witness? What is the receipt? I think he gave us the original. Is it the same as this one? Can you give it to the witness? Yes, resolution, yes. No, I don't have this. Okay. No, I can't think. Attached to that certificate are some documents.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, but those documents don't belong to the certificate, do they?
This is for the business certificate, clearance, tax clearance. No, I don't think it belongs.
Could you detach it if it doesn't?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you give me the certificate back, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
This is the certificate of incorporation. I think you have that already.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm also applying to have admitted the certificate, registered share certificate of Gambia Petroleum Limited of the witness dated 27 March 2009, a letter from Faraj Andrews accompanying the amended memorandum and articles of association, ordinary and extraordinary resolutions of Gambia Petroleum Storage Facility Company Limited passed on the 28th January 2015. Share sale agreement between the witness, Mr. Amadou Samba, and the government of the Gambian National Petroleum Corporation, GNPC, and the Gambia Ports Authority as purchasers. DT Associates letter or an accompanying capital gains tax assessment forms, a copy of a check in the sum of $9,434,250 issued to Gambia Revenue Authority dated 17 February 2015, and a receipt issued by GRA for the said same amount to the witness. In respect of capital gains tax. Could you pass these documents on to the Honorable Commissioners, please? Chairman of the Commission. I would also like, sorry Mr. Chairman, I would also like to add transfer of shares, which is a document I showed Mr. Samba, and which he has identified as a transfer of shares between himself and the original, I think, owners of the company. This particular one is between Fadi Mazegi and Mr. Amadou Samba, dated 27 March 2009. I'll apply for a copy.
Mr. Samet, with regard to the company, GAM Petroleum Storage Facility Company Limited.
Yes, sir.
We have a copy of the original memorandum of association, but we can't find a copy of the articles of association.
Or you have the copy of the memorandum?
Yes, but not of the articles.
Of the articles?
Yes. Not the articles of association. That is with regard to the original. Now there is an amended one.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but not with the original. We have only the memo, not the articles. So if it is somewhere,
yes, sir.
Please
unfortunately,
provide it. Is that you have the articles?
Let me see that copy. The top copy. No, that seems to be the copy I have. Let me just see here.
Sir, with your permission, I would like to go and do further research because it's very unusual to have the memorandum without the articles.
All right.
I'm sure I can locate it somewhere.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
Yes, sir.
I stated it for the record. But we can still admit the memorandum.
All right, sir. But I'll still make the effort to make sure that
very well
we get the articles, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to amend my application accordingly because I did mention that there were articles. I assumed they were. Thank you.
Sir, would it suffice if I send it to the Secretariat?
Yeah, that's where you send it in the first place.
Sir?
I say I would advise you to take it there in the first place.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Original memorandum. Council, we have this last document,
Yes, Mr. Chair.
income tax clearance certificate for Gambia Petroleum, storage facility company, but it's dated 9th July 2003.
Oh, I think it came with the...
We have this feeling that...
it came with the business registration application. It was attached to the business registration. There is an application for a business registration certificate.
Right. We haven't... That's 118. Yeah. Original memorandum, but not the articles, brackets, of association of GAM Petroleum Storage Facility Company Limited, undated but signed in 2003, and amended memorandum and articles of association dated February 2015, plus related documents. Admitted mark MS 118A. Deloitte and Touche Associates letter dated 17th February 2015 to the Commissioner of Domestic Taxes, re Amadou Samba, capital gains tax returns and payment for the disposal of 10% interest in GAM Petroleum Storage Facility Company Limited. Admitted mark MS 118B. Share sale agreement dated 11 February 2015 between Amadou Samba and Government of the Gambia, Gambia National Petroleum Corporation, GNPC, and Gambia Ports Authority, GPA, re Amadou Samba's shareholding in GAM Petroleum Storage Facility Company Limited, plus GRA Guaranteed Trust Bank Deposit Slip and GRA Payment Receipt dated 17th February 2015 in respect of capital gains tax. Admitted mark MS 118C. Transfer of shares from Fadi Mazegi to Amadou Samba of 100 registered shares in GAM Petroleum Limited. GAM Petroleum Limited, registered in Nevis, West Indies, plus registered share certificate number 0004, dated 27th March 2009, in respect of the said 100 shares transferred to Amadou Samba. Admitted mark MS 118D. Sorry. Well, I'm afraid we've gone beyond the time limit.
I just want to say, at your convenience, we would like to recall certain witnesses. We just bring it to your notice at your convenience.
Yeah. Who are they? Can you, because we have to go now, but can you send a letter and list the witnesses you would want to be recalled? You will send.
Also have access to the.
Yes, that's not a problem at all. We have always said this.
Very great.
These are public documents. But make sure you write this letter and address it to the secretary. We rise now and conclude with that. All right. We'll be back on Monday, the 4th of December at 10 o'clock.